just got home from fucking college, and I have to talk about this. I very quickly glanced at the patch notes because they were linked in my Discord, and for what it looks like they are implementing with this new chapter is the anti-slug and the anti-tunnel, as well as a couple of other things. So we'll go over this first. We'll just go in it from top to bottom because it's a lot easier. But with slugging reduction, if a survivor is left in the dying state for a total of 90 seconds during a match, they gain the ability to pick themselves up after fully recovering. I read over this part, and what seems to happen is now you don't have to crawl on your own, which is interesting. Recover on your own. It'll just automatically do it. As well as now you're able to crawl. I think it's completely fine. Like 90 seconds. I feel like a lot of people tend to like not really slug that long, so it won't affect like the majority. Like if you're hard slugging, then you're kind of screwed. But honestly, I don't see a problem with this. But when we get over to anti-tunneling and the stuff below this, they are adding a new status effect to when you become unhooked called elusive. Pretty much you no longer collide with players, both your teammates and the killer. You can immediately killer instinct their aura. And then, you know, you get the same haste, you get the same endurance. So pretty much it's just kind of like built-in babysitter. It's just without the extended duration of time. Killers will actually be benefited if they get unique hooks. So when you read this, you're like, oh, bonus damage for kicking gens, temporary haste, temporary reveals and survivors like Basic Barbecue. And you're like, okay, that's not bad. It's lessened on Blight, Dark Lord, the Ghoul, Hillbilly, and Nurse, which are the best killers. So good thing that, you know, they're not giving Trapper the same buffs as, you know, all of these top 5 killers. These effects are disabled once all gens are completed. And the intention of that is to make sure people don't tunnel as much. You know, you don't want people to tunnel. And I think that's great. I think that is fantastic. But when we get to the problem is if a survivor dies before 6 total hook states, all remaining survivors gain a repair speed bonus for the rest of the trial. That is absurd. 6 hook stages, I feel, bro, I'd say 4. I'd say 4, maybe 3, if you really want to stretch it, because it's like a hard tunnel, then I can understand. I'd say 4 is like a good spot. 6? Bro, I've had so many games where the only ever person I see is just the same 2 people. I think that's terrible. And for all of these examples, I'm gonna go, because we don't have the numbers yet. I don't think. I'll scroll down and we'll continue to see. But we don't have the numbers yet. So I'm just gonna go on both survivor side and killer side. Everything is 5%. Like all of the gen kick increase, all of the aura is 5 seconds. Everything is gonna be 5% or 5 seconds for both killer and survivor, because we don't know yet. So let's say they get 5% increased gen speeds. 3 survivors now have 5% increased gen speeds. Like, do we see how that's completely insane? I don't know. Like, I genuinely think 6 is just too much. I can understand 4, but I think 3 is the best, the sweet spot. Because if you get hard tunneled, then I can see why to incentivize your team to like hurry up and do gens. But 6 is way too high. I think 6 is way too high. Like even with the killers like bonus for kicking gens, like if they even get it throughout the match, I don't know if they'll be able to get it after that bonus for survivor hits. You just won't be able to catch up. And I still don't see, if you don't tunnel, it being like a good counter to like, I think it would still be more efficient to tunnel and let the survivors get the increase in gens than it would be to get like the built-in pop. But you just have to play a lot better. You would have to like, as killer, you're gonna have to make less mistakes. Because I mean, with killers like Pig, that pop doesn't do much. Because what if you hook someone and then most of the time the gens are like across the map. So it's like by the time you even get there, it's like either done, almost done, or like survivors will have deja vu and it just counteracts the you kicking the gen. Like you barely save time is what I'm saying. I do believe that is insane. If the survivor that was last hooked is sacrificed or killed, generators cannot be regressed or blocked. What? Holy, I didn't even read that. Wait, if the survivor that was last hooked is sacrificed or killed, generators cannot be regressed or blocked. Wait, so if someone's death hook at 9 stages and like you have pain res, the last guy who's working on a gen, his gen won't pain res, DMS. I mean, that's the thing. Like, yes, it's that late in the game, the gen regress is pretty much useless because you're gonna either find him or he's gonna get hatched. But it's good info, because if they decide to stick their gen, because they're like, they want to get the gen done, so now it's the doors versus the hatch prior to the hatch even spawning. You can't do that. You basically can't, because you won't get the info off of DMS or anything like that. That is crazy. I don't know about that. That's gonna be, so what's useless now? Like, a lot. Oh, like everything. Everything's gonna be useless. Cause that. Oh, so if you hard tunnel too. So not only if you hard tunnel are they getting an increase in gen speeds, but then your gen perks just don't work. That is. Whew. That is absurd. God damn. Updated several survivor and killer perks to account for these changes. Okay, so we're probably gonna get to a lot of changes in gen regress. It's no secret that tunneling can be seen as an efficient way to play killers. While this is true, it's also true that the result can be frustrating for survivors, leading to trials ending too quickly for some, while leaving others to fend for themselves in a match that is now more difficult. My take on tunneling, personally, for those who don't know, I think it's on both ends very enjoyable. When you get tunneled as a survivor, you have every single resource on the entire map. Everything is yours against the killer. You have everything. You have every pallet. You have every window. You can go anywhere. Yeah, you should not run into your teammates. But if you do, it's not going to matter because your teammate's not going to get chased. On top of the fact, yeah, it is very efficient. It is very efficient. And what it looks like they're doing is the counter, what's the word I'm looking for? The way they're going around it is to make it so you don't tunnel, but it doesn't look like it's good enough as an incentive to want to do. It's forcing you to not tunnel, but the incentive isn't good. But if you do tunnel, the decentive is fucking terrible. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people complain about tunneling far too much, and that's just my personal opinion. I think it's completely fine. It's not like, for those who played old DBD tunneling was terrible. That was, I agree, was outlandish. Elusive status effect. Add a new status effect that silences grunts of pain and suppresses survivor oracles of blood and scratch marks. Scratch marks as well. To start, we'll be using the new status effect as a perk of the tunneling reduction, but plan to integrate into relevant existing perks down the road to make the descriptions more streamlined. Arguably the easiest way to look at this survivor version of undetectable, and when that's active, you're now in stealth mode. Yeah, so they'll probably put like the elusive tag on like perks like babysitter, iron will, stuff like that. The tomes I don't care about. Michael. Yeah, I heard a little bit about this. Like they're making him kind of like Chucky. Charge, slaughtering. What is it? Slaughtering strike. That's interesting. So is that like a thing you can only do in tier 3? Can it break pallets? I wonder. I feel like it should. We'll read the description of this. Stalker mode 4.2 movement speed, undetectable, can stalk survivors. Pursuer mode 4.6 movement speed, 24 minute terror radius, increased volt. Bonuses to lunge range, break speed, stun recovery, and cannot stalk survivors. Oh, okay, so a little bit of a built-in enduring there. That's pretty cool. Once the stalk meter is full, even incarnate can be triggered. granting the following effects for a limited amount of time. 4.6 movement speed, a 40 meter tear radius, and an increased volt speed. Unlocking slaughtering strike ability. Hold the power button to charge this ability, reducing movement speed. Press the button while charging to quickly lunge forward, adjusting your angle as you move. The length of the lunge depends on the charge time. Oh, okay, so you don't have to fully rip it every time. Okay, I actually do like that. If a survivor enters the killer's attack range while lunging, they are knocked into the dying state. The ability can also be used to destroy pallets. Okay, it can. That's nice. Ooh, you're gonna be able to do some like a pretty interesting like mind games to like break a pallet to reduce like a person's distance. I think knockout honestly might be like really good on him. I am a very like chase perks are bad, but knockout does actually, that looks like that would be a great perk for him. Unlocks the ability.
I always come back.
Zero with the tier 3. Holy hell! What's going on? Yo, I appreciate that tier 3, man. Holy hell! How's your day? Hope it's going well. W2 months. W2 months. How are you, man? Where was I? Adjust some of the stalking mechanics. Remove the limited pool of stalk points per survivor. Oh, that's amazing! Holy hell, I love that. Rework this add-ons. Reduce the stalk range to 32 meters and remove the distance modifier. Okay, I'm fine with that. Moving while stalking increased movement speed, but incurs a reduced stalk rate. Oh, okay. So you stalk more if you stand still, but you can do it while walking. Honestly, I kind of like the changes. Minor clown update. Increases the activation time for the afterpiece antidote. Increase how long the afterpiece tonic's hindered effect lingers after leaving the smoke. I mean, this is very vague. It just depends on the time, because the thing is, yes, buffed clown is better than previous clown, but he's still not that good. Depending on the times, this could gut him or just make him a little bit more tolerable in chase. But that's the thing, he's just only good in chase. That's ever clown's ever been. So it's like, who really cares? Increase the additional time added to weaken when injured by a UVX projectile. That is nice. Increase the camera vertical range. Oh, you can actually do like, I wonder if you're able to look completely up like Springtrap. I wonder if you're able to do like full orbitals. Unknown is very good, and I do like this change because, especially for worse players or at least less consistent players, this is actually gonna be pretty good. They're gonna be able to get more shots, or not more shots. They're gonna be able to take their time on their second shot. Increased movement speed recovery after teleporting. I don't really think he needed that. Adjusted several of his add-ons. Okay. Dev note. The unknown is largely considered to be fun to play as and against, and we want to preserve that while adapting to the current state of the gameplay. Yeah, 100%. I think that is definitely a needed change. I like that the fact that you're going to be able to take more time, because the thing is with current unknown, you kind of just have to rip your second shot right away, and if you miss, you're just screwed. Dracula, my bae, my P100. We'll see what you did to him. Slightly reduced Hellfire cooldown. Increased total Hellfire pillars. Reduced Hellfire charge movement speed. Okay, that's kind of bad, but one more pillar that probably is like, it's like the same. Slightly increase the slowdown time after casting Hellfire. Okay, so you make it a little bit more punishing. I don't think he needed that. I felt like he had a really long stagger. Maybe that's just me. Increase the Wolfpaw Pounce attack charge time. Increase Scent Orb spawn time. Forced Echo is just gonna be, they adjusted his add-ons. Okay, never mind. Maybe the add-on got screwed. Yeah, a lot of people tend to use Wolf. So I do see why. Dracula got nerfed? No, I don't think this is a nerf at all. I think this is a buff, and it's making him have way more skill expression. I personally use the Hellfire more than the Wolf. The average player definitely uses Wolf more. It's just, it's gonna force more people to like actually learn the fucking Hellfire. Because the thing is, a lot of people don't understand the stuff that you can hit over, and it really deters them from like playing the character. But I like that. That's actually pretty nice. That's a pretty nice change in my opinion. Sorry, I just like beat the hell out of my mic. Side grade? Yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with a side grade. For me, this is like amazing though. I actually, especially if they fix his bugs, I might get into playing it more. Celsius. That's cool though. They adjusted a couple of his add-ons. I wonder what they're gonna do there. The Ghoul. Grabbing a survivor on the other side of a wall with the concrete leap. The survivor is released at the start of the Ghoul's vault instead of at the end. So they just removed Kidnap Tip. Okay, that's cool. What flavor? Grape. Yo, Bale, thanks for the lurk. So yeah, they just removed Kidnap Tip. I think that's fucking necessary. I genuinely, there's gonna be a fucking crazy take. I genuinely think the Ghoul is very balanced. Kidnap Tech made him completely not balanced. The Ghoul really, I genuinely think like the Ghoul is honestly one of the most like balanced, not like the most, but one of the most in consideration of like some of the other killers. All right, Oni, hooking a survivor now spawns more blood orbs. Hey, little subtle bluff. I like that. Hey, I will never complain. I wonder if it's like how many more it's gonna spawn. If it's gonna spawn like two more or something like that. Perk updates. Updated various perks. In addition to general perk ballots updates, you can expect each release. We've also had a number of adjustments to account for the number of new systems coming to DVD, specifically related to slugging and tunneling. Stay tuned next Tuesday on the P2B Live balance preview on the Discord, where we'll dig into details of these perk changes and then follow up with the patch notes where you can find the nitty-gritty numbers. Yeah, I'm definitely wondering like what specifically they're gonna start changing. I do think this. I do think a majority of this is very good for the game. It's very healthy for the game. I think there's two things. It depends mostly on the numbers of effects, and two, if the effects are gonna be good enough for killer for it to counteract the act of tunneling. If you go back to the tunneling stages, 6 hook stages, that's a lot. I feel like most people's games, someone is dead by 6 stages. 3 hooks on one guy, you know, three individual hooks on another. I feel like that's really common. Or 3 hooks on one guy, 2 on one guy, 1 on another. I feel like that's very, very common in most matches. I think 6 is way too high. But if we go back into these like numbers, like the temporary haste, the temporary survivor reveals, the bonus damage for the next generator kick, it really comes to the numbers on that. Because if this number is 5%, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to not tunnel. If this number is like 5%, it's not worth it to not tunnel. If this number is like 5 seconds, a little bit. But like, then again, you know, the S tiers kind of get screwed over by this. And then gen perks no longer working when a survivor dies is crucial. It is going to affect so many of the weaker killers, and I do not think that is a good decision. I do not think that is a good decision at all. I think you should have that on these killers. I think having that on these killers, perfect. Because, the Blight, the Dark Lord, the Ghoul, the Hillbilly, the Nurse, they want to tunnel. They want to tunnel. Their gens don't regress. You can't block the gens when someone dies. And I feel like that would be really good for them. Because these killers are all, like, very good at getting downs. They're also good at getting to their next down. But with that change on Trapper notoriously tends to, you know, not get hooks too often. So if you kill someone and then your next down takes 120 seconds because you're Trapper and they have a billion quadrillion pallets, you're kind of screwed. Same with Skull Merchant. You're kind of screwed. Same with Pig. You're kind of screwed. I do not think this change. I do not think this change is good. Unless it is only applied to these killers. Maybe a few more. Maybe. Like Singularity, I could somewhat see. But if like Trapper, Michael Myers, Chucky, Ghostface, Plague, Legion, if they receive these changes, I don't know. I genuinely do not see Killer being something that a lot of people are going to enjoy. Besides just the total number of hook states and then the this thing, I think it's a great update. I really want to see what exactly the numbers are. I want to see what perk changes occur. Don't mind the place they're going with Michael. Like it's kind of just like a big Chucky, but like his tier 2 is like really oppressive now, which is really nice. Clown, obviously we'll have to see the numbers. Unknown, I think he'll be far more fun for the average player. Dracula, I think is a buff, but to the average player, probably just like a side grade. Ghoul, I completely agree with the changes. Oni, nice little subtle buff, and then I am glad. I'm glad. I'm looking forward to the changes that occur with perks. And then a bunch of these killers are getting add-on changes, so it'll be cool to see that. And then the new killer as well. I'm really excited. I definitely want to play them a lot. Just want to test out their power. Like, even if it's something I don't personally like, say if it's like a Legion playstyle, or say if it's like a Skull Merchant playstyle, I still want to play them. I just want to give them a chance, you know? Because maybe there's actually some like really fun or hidden potential. I do think the slugging thing is healthy, as much as like I do slug fairly often in my matches, never for like 90 seconds though. So I do think this is helpful, especially for those really fucking annoying matches where they just refuse to pick you up. But yeah, I think this is honestly all in all an 8 out of 10 update. I'm excited to see the killer and all of the numbers. But if these two things go through, killer's definitely gonna face a lot of problems, unless you are, you know, these people. But yeah, nonetheless, that is my take. We'll see how it looks like in a week. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited.